Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling what really feels like the central rivalry for, well, anyone in development right now, certainly for 2025.
Oh, yeah. GPT-5 versus Sonnet 4.5.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. And it's not just hype, right? This is about code velocity, error rates, the stuff that really matters day to day. So our goal today is, cut through all that noise, give you a clear playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission is to unpack the comparisons we're seeing, but not just like abstract numbers. We're diving into the sources that look at actual workflow, the cost implications, reliability.
And the developer vibe, like how does it feel to use them?
Exactly. The whole picture. We want to give you a practical sense of where each one fits.
Okay, so let's quickly frame up the promises. OpenAI's GPT-5. They're pitching it as, the careful architect.
Pretty much a unified system, plans, reasons, supposed to make fewer mistakes, handle complexity.
The meticulous one.
And Anthropic Sonnet 4.5.
That's the sprinter, the tireless coder. It's built for speed, holding context over long interactions, executing fast. Right. So the core tension we're exploring for you today is, do you need that careful planner in your stack, or do you need the fast sprinter? Or maybe both.
That's the big question. Planner versus sprinter. Let's dig into the data, see what the benchmarks tell us first.
Okay, section 1, the tail of the tape. Benchmarks.
And yeah, the paper story seems surprisingly split.
Well, first thing, let's be clear, benchmarks don't ship production code. We all know that.
Right. They're not the whole story.
Not at all. But they do reveal patterns, default behaviors, you
Right.
know? And what we're seeing isn't one model crushing the other across the board. It's strategic. Depends on the task.
So where does Sonnet 4.5, the sprinter, actually pull ahead? Where does it shine in these tests?
Okay, so Sonnet really makes its mark on what researchers call structured agentic tasks.
Meaning?
Tasks where the model needs to use tools, control the terminal, or follow really specific multi-step instructions accurately. Think execution.
Gotcha. Any specific examples? Yeah, look at SWE-bench. That's a verified coding benchmark. Sonnet 4.5 is ahead there, 77.2% verification. GPT-5 gets 72.8%.
Okay, that's a real difference. Almost 5 points on verified fixes.
It is significant, yeah. And you see the similar pattern on things like terminal bench, especially interactive tasks. Sonnet leads 50.0% to 43.8%.
So interacting with systems using tools?
Exactly, tool orchestration. And even in specialized areas, like the finance agent score, Sonnet's at 55.3%, GPT-5 at 46.9%.
Yeah.
It seems better at applying external knowledge and just executing within constraints.
Okay, that fits the sprinter profile. Great at doing using tools. So let's flip it. What about the planner, GPT-5? Where does it show its strength if we take away the tools and just ask for, raw smarts?
That's where GPT-5 really steps up. It consistently wins on raw reasoning, abstract thinking, and especially multimodal stuff, understanding images, charts, text altogether.
Okay, break that down, because reasoning can mean a lot. What kind of tests show this?
Good question. Look at GPQA Diamond. That's high-level general question answering. GPT-5 scores 85.7%, Sonnet's at 83.4%. A slight edge, but consistent.
And MMLU, that one comes up a lot.
Right, massive multitask language understanding, super broad test of knowledge. Again, GPT-5 is slightly ahead, 89.4% versus 89.1%.
Okay, small edges there. What about mixing data types? You mentioned multimodal.
That's a clearer win for GPT-5. MMMU benchmark understanding images, charts, text combined. GPT-5 gets 84.2%. Sonnet's further back at 77.8%.
That seems significant.
And maybe the most telling one, the AME 2025 Math Challenge. With tools, they're both pretty good.
Yeah.
But take the tools away, force pure multi-step logical reasoning. GPT-5 gets 94.6%. Sonnet gets 87.0%.
Wow, okay, that's a big gap when it's just down to raw thinking power.
Exactly.
So if I'm understanding this, the benchmarks aren't saying Model X is just better. It's more like Sonnet is the better executor when given clear instructions and tools.
Right, handles orchestration well.
While GPT-5 is better at the complex thinking and understanding before you even get to the code, like figuring out the what and why.
You've got it. Sonnet for structured execution, GPT-5 for the deep reasoning and multimodal integration.
Which leads us perfectly into section 2. Okay, enough numbers. What's it like using these things day to day? In the trenches, as you say.
Yeah.
How does that benchmark split feel to a developer staring at their IDE?
Yeah, this is where it gets really practical. And the field reports, the developer vibe, it mirrors that split almost perfectly. GPT-5 really comes across as the planner, the reviewer. Developers consistently say it reads the existing code base more faithfully. It seems to track the project architecture, even in bigger repos, much better. And crucially, when you use it as a code reviewer, it flags issues with specific, accurate file paths.
Okay, so it reduces that awful feeling you get sometimes wondering if the AI even looked at the files you gave it.
Exactly. That didn't even read the repo. Anxiety. GPT-5 seemed to manage that context much better. I remember debugging something last month. Turned out the AI just invented a module that didn't exist because it hadn't properly mapped the existing code. GPT-5 seems less prone to that. It respects the architecture.
Doesn't all that deep reading and planning make it slow? Is the better architectural map worth waiting longer for?
That's the trade-off, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because on the other side, Sonnet 4.5 is undeniably the sprinter, the doer. It's fast, it's conversational, it gives you a plan and starts writing code or patches quickly.
So it tackles the other anxiety. Ugh, this is taking forever.
Precisely. It's great for those really tight iteration loops, quick fixes, generating boilerplate.
Sounds ideal for velocity. But you mentioned a nuance developers need to watch out for. Where does Sonnet's speed sometimes cause problems?
The main thing is, well, maybe overconfidence. Because it's tuned for action, it can sometimes jump to writing a new function when actually a perfectly good helper function already exists somewhere else in the repo.
Reinventing the wheel.
A bit, yeah. And it definitely prioritizes the happy path, gets the main thing working fast. Which is good, but sometimes, if you don't give it really strong guardrails, it can get stuck. Like, it hits an error, tries a fix, the fix fails, and it just loops back, trying the same thing. Needs careful prompting.
Okay, so for a complex task like analyzing a big repo to understand its architecture, GPT-5 might take longer, but gives you a more accurate map, less phantom code.
That's what people are finding, yes. Sonnet might give you an outline faster, but you might spend more time correcting things it misunderstood about the existing structure.
And this affects risk too, right?
Totally. GPT-5 tends to surface dependencies, edge cases, potential problems earlier in its thinking. Sonnet is more implementation-focused, gets it done. So the choice really depends on what you're doing in that sprint.
Like complex integrations or migrations maybe lean towards GPT-5's judgment.
Exactly. Compliance, big architectural changes, things where hidden risks are high. GPT-5's caution is valuable. But if you're doing straightforward refactoring, documentation sprints, maybe cleaning up tech debt across many files, Sonnet speed is a huge win.
Okay, let's translate this into workflow and, importantly, cost. We've got the styles, planner versus sprinter. Now, speed versus depth in practice.
Boils down to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sonnet 4.5 is just faster for the small stuff.
Right.
Writing unit tests, tweaking UI details, drafting quick doc strings, those small, frequent loops. Sonnet wins on sheer pace.
High volume, low risk tasks.
Exactly. Whereas GPT-5, it is slower. It thinks more. But the analysis it provides, the code it suggests for complex problems, often needs significantly less rework. So depth wins the big loops. Design reviews, planning major migrations, making strategic architectural calls.
Which brings us to the economics. This is fascinating. We always focus on token prices, right? Input-output costs. But you're saying that's maybe not the main thing.
It can be a distraction, honestly. The real cost analysis needs to factor in rework. Think about it. GPT-5's value isn't just in the tokens it uses. It's when one really solid, deep analysis prevents 3 bad commits down the line.
And saves the team days of debugging and cleanup.
Exactly. Suddenly, that expensive GPT-5 call looks incredibly cheap if your roadmap involves major architectural shifts, complex dependency untangling, schema migrations. The cost of getting those wrong dwarfs the API costs.
So the metric isn't cost per token. It's more like cost per successful merged feature.
That's a much better way to frame it. And conversely, Sonnet 4.5 shines economically when the task leverages its speed. Refactoring, writing tests across the board, extracting helper functions, tasks where volume and pace matter.
There, the value is just getting through a lot of mechanical work quickly.
Right. It's the sheer volume of useful code generated fast. And also, potentially, tokens saved, because you can use tighter prompts for these more constrained tasks. It's efficient for high-volume, well-defined work. So the question isn't just which is cheaper, but what kind of friction are you paying the AI to remove? Slow planning or slow execution?
Okay, this all points towards, well, not picking a winner, does it? The really smart move seems to be using both, a hybrid approach.
Absolutely.
What?
Stop thinking Ravelry, start thinking toolset. The highest throughput, the best results, seem to come from treating them like a relay team. Planner hands off to the sprinter.
Makes sense. The sources you looked at, they actually outline a process for this, a playbook.
Yeah, there's a pretty clear 5-step relay that seems to work well maximizing both the reliability of GPT-5 and the velocity of Sonnet 4.5.
Okay, let's walk through it. Step one for, say, a complex new feature.
Step 1. Scoping and risk checks. You start with GPT-5. Use its reasoning strengths. Ask it for an impact analysis, a draft migration plan, list potential risks. Leverage that deep architectural understanding up front. Minimize surprises later. Okay,
Sure.
Step 2.
Step two, refactor and test harness. Once you have that solid plan from GPT-5, you hand it over to Sonnet 4.5. But, and this is key, you give it constraints.
Like what?
Things like, don't create files over X lines, or make sure you reuse these specific helper functions paste in the paths. Then let Sonnet, the sprinter, churn through the more mechanical coding and test writing based on that plan.
Got it. Use the plan, apply constraints, let Sonnet run. What's step 3? Failure happens.
Step 3, tight loop on failure. Tests will fail. For the first pass fixes, keep Sonnet 4.5 in the loop. Its speed is an advantage for quick patches. Only if the failure points to a DeepL design issue, something Sonnet seems stuck on.
Then you bounce back to GPT-5, the planner, for a rethink.
Exactly. Don't waste Sonnet's time on problems requiring deep reasoning it's not optimized for.
Okay. Step 4. Code's working. Mostly.
Step 4, documentation and release notes. Lean on Sonnet 4.5 again, generating change logs, code comments, updating re-8 areas. Its speed and ability to follow formatting instructions make it great for this. Efficient documentation. And the final step, before hitting merge.
Step 5. Final review. Bring GPT-5 back in. Ask it to critique the entire change set. Look for inconsistencies, potential security issues, maybe suggest performance tweaks on the new code. It acts as that final quality gate.
That makes a lot of sense. Planner scopes, sprinter executes, sprinter fixes simple breaks, planner reviews, the whole thing. But you mentioned guardrails earlier. What are the absolute must-haves to make this work?
2 main things came up consistently. First, always force a repo read explicitly. Tell the model, read these relevant files first, then propose changes. And like we said, paste paths to existing helpers to discourage reinvention, especially with Sonnet.
Okay, explicit read, provide context. Second,
Separate planning from execution in your prompts. Use one interaction to get the plan, maybe refine it. Then use a separate interaction to ask for the code or the patches based on that finalized plan. Don't mix the 2 modes in one request. It helps both models stick to their strengths. #outro.
All right, let's try and summarize. Time for the final verdict. If you absolutely had to pick just one model for 2025, for end-to-end development where correctness and reliability are paramount.
It leans towards GPT-5. For complex work where deep judgment prevents costly errors, it seems to have the edge. Reliability is king there.
But Sonnet 4.5.
Sonnet 4.5 clearly wins the speed and throughput title. It's arguably the best second model to have. If you need to crank through well-defined tasks fast, it excels. Throughput is king for those jobs.
So the real best answer, the highest value, is that hybrid approach we just walked through.
Without a doubt. Use GPT-5 to think and plan. Use Sonnet 4.5 to execute and iterate quickly, and then use GPT-5 again for that final quality check. It turns the rivalry into a high-performance system.
Okay, final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Yeah, maybe think about it this way. At their core, you're choosing between 2 default behaviors. Sonnet seems fundamentally tuned for action, for doing things quickly. GPT-5 seems tuned more for judgment, for careful consideration.
Action versus judgment.
Right. So the next time you're reaching for one of these models, maybe ask yourself first, what do I need right now for this specific task? Do I need reliable judgment, maybe for a tricky design problem? Or do I need fast, constrained action, like churning out some tests? The answer to that question tells you which tool to pick up first.